Alright, I'm not gonna lie. My low is the fact I got in an argument with somebody yesterday. But I've sort of brought this person up in the past. Basically, I've dubbed this guy the Eric Cartman of Corning, New York. Right down to the point where, again, he even looks like Eric Cartman. Right down to the point where I don't think you can even see his toes. But anyway, like, I'm trying to move past it. You know, luckily, my high is the fact that, you know, I did get the chance to, you know, talk it over with my father, so that was nice. I'll be perfectly honest, I'll tell you what, the argument was actually so bad that my act of kindness is I'm not going to bring it up here. Because I don't want to bring it up here. That just wouldn't be right. So to cheer I'm not even going to say this is a straight up, yes, it was a bad day either, because again, the behavior of this particular person really is par for the course. And honestly, I've been trying to, I'll just leave it at this. Dr. Seuss once had a great saying in which, be who you are and say who you will. And those who matter don't mind, and those who mind don't matter. And yes, I said that latter part in reverse on purpose. Anyway, good morning. Happy hump day, everybody. So, in order to cheer myself up, I decided to look up a couple of things. As I was, bored, and sometimes, if I'm feeling kind of down, looking up some stuff I'm curious about, on the internet always seems to, cheer me up a little bit, like YouTube or Google, stuff like that. So, one of the things that pop up is, and if you're a subscriber on YouTube, the algorithm will help come up with photos of communities and stuff that, you're subscribing on Facebook and stuff. Not Facebook, on YouTube, I mean. And this has actually been a concept that, personally, I kind of feel needs to stop. But I'll bring it up here just because I really haven't mentioned it before. But you guys all know I'm a huge Pokemon fan. You know this. I mean, I've talked about this many times, and it's not really going to stop anytime soon. But ever since around, I want to say this concept existed around 2010, 2011, which would have been Generation 5, but it was probably even earlier than this, where a lot of people, and keep in mind, it's not like it's a bad idea. I just don't ever want to see this in a real Pokemon game. A lot of people online like to come up with what are called Pokemon fusions. Obviously, pretty obvious. You take the designs of two different Pokemon, put them together, and boom, you get something that usually does look pretty cool. Here's the thing. As cool as these ideas are, I hope I never see them in any of the games. Because in this day and age, because I've actually looked up how many Pokemon are in the National Pokedex as of right now in Generation 8. And you either have just below or just barely above 900. And that's just individual Pokemon. And I say this because lots of Pokemon have different forms they battle with, transformations, regional variants. Honestly, I think Generation 6 was the culmination of you had the perfect thing. Every generation come out with new Pokemon, but Mega Evolution, that was great. If you stuck with that would have been fine. But then again, you have regional variants and, new forms of other Pokemon and stuff like that. The game is already complicated enough as it is. Don't add fusions to the mix. Because, again, with around 900 Pokemon, with the possibility of making fusions with 2 or more, do you have any idea how many combinations you're going to have? Like, how would it even work? My point is, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. It is not a bad idea to come up with designs that are cool. That's great. Just don't actually use them in the game, please. Like, don't. Don't make things any more complicated than they need to be. Thank you. It's crazy. That's why for Christmas and actually my birthday, because my birthday is in December, like that's why I'm strongly considering. I procrastinate all my games, so honestly, it may or may not be a good idea for me to get Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, especially when I only have one Switch. Like those games introduced like was right around the end of that era where like people's usage of the internet was no longer at its infancy, and ideas like the fusions were coming into fruition. I say people's usage of the internet. The internet's lasted since literally 1983. So, Generation 4, the original Diamond and Pearl, would have been 2006, 2007. So, at that point, the internet itself was old enough to drink, but not old enough to be able to, do its own taxes or insurance or whatever. So there you go. My goodness, since the internet was 6 years old when I was born. Crazy, isn't it? Actually, you know what? Speaking of Christmas, that brings up another thing. Because, and this is something I probably could have talked about on Monday when I was visiting with my father. The day before, obviously. And I probably could have seen this coming because, if there's one thing America is really known for, among other things, it's its usage of over-marketing for the holiday season. And by that, I mean National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation was on the other night. Now, for those of you who may not be aware, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is essentially like a holiday staple. Like it is a great Christmas special and tradition for a lot of families around the holiday season to watch. In fact, I personally have even dubbed it within my Mount Rushmore of Christmas specials or movies. That's how good it is. Highly recommend anyone who watches it, right? And then it got me thinking, since we are coming up to that time of year, it would probably do me some good to look up when the other portions of my Mount Rushmore of Christmas specials or movies are going to be on television. Now, for those of you who don't know or don't remember, my Mount Rushmore of Christmas specials is as follows. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, A Christmas Story, A Christmas Carol, and a tie between Charlie Brown Christmas and the original animated Chuck Jones, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Again, the original animated Chuck Jones one, the one narrated by Boris Karloff. And for those of you who are wondering, I put How the Grinch Stole Christmas and Charlie Brown Christmas as a tie because individually both specials are really short. Like, they're each only about the length of a typical Saturday morning cartoon, which don't make sense. Charlie Brown and the Peanuts and, anything regarding Chuck Jones is meant to be a Saturday morning cartoon. So when I put them both together, you get an hour special. That's enough time. So that's why I group them together. Pretty much all four, well, technically 5 specials on my Mount Rushmore, they are all movies I highly recommend you watch. Go watch them if you haven't already. I bring this up because I should really look up when they come on so I don't miss them. Now, I just mentioned National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation was on Sunday, meaning if it's not even December yet, in fact, we weren't even halfway through the month of November, I'm going to have more than one opportunity to watch National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Seriously, you have channels like TNT, TBS, probably ABC, Freeform. Like, one of those channels is going to be showing National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation at least once between now and the end of the holiday season. So I'm not really worried about missing it. Then you have A Christmas Carol. Here's the thing. A Christmas Carol, and yes, I do mean the one by, Charles Dickens, has been done to death in many different kinds of mediums. Obviously there's the book, live action, cartoons, CGI motion capture, the one by Jim Carrey, which I'll get into that in a second. There's lots of different forms of Christmas Carol, and they pretty much, and while the dialogue in some of them are different, or how everything is visualized in the story, they all pretty much hit the same note. So, it is possible that the versions of the Christmas Carol that I want to see, I'm probably not going to be able to do it because I really wouldn't know when they're on or whatever. So, in case if you're wondering, I'll quickly get into a brief rundown of the versions of A Christmas Carol I want to see or recommend. The one by George C. Scott, obviously. The Disney one by Scrooge McDuck. With Scrooge McDuck is obviously Ebenezer Scrooge. Voiced by the late, great Alan Young. Also, just a fun fact for you. I obviously need to include the Muppets, because it's the Muppets. Who doesn't love the Muppets? They're awesome. And I mentioned Disney's Christmas Carol earlier, the one with Jim Carrey. That one actually isn't bad. I like that one. They actually do a really cool thing where not only does Jim Carrey play Ebenezer Scrooge, he also plays the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. Really past and present. Literally the ghost of Christmas future, which is sort of depicted to be looking like the Grim Reaper, is literally a shadow. That's a really inventive idea. And they even do some parallels where, like, one of the famous lines in A Christmas Carol is, if he is to die, then you better do it so, and perhaps decrease the surplus population. They literally do it when, in Jim Carrey's A Christmas Carol, and since the Ghost of Christmas Present is also voiced by Jim Carrey, they make it so they form the Ghost of Christmas Present's face to look like Ebenezer Scrooge, and he says the line. It's actually really brilliantly done. I like that parallel. It's nice. I like that. Although I'm getting sidetracked here. My point is, there's a lot of versions of A Christmas Carol that are going to be on. So even if I don't really see any of the ones that I want to see or recommend, chances are I'm going to have an opportunity to see it. Or at least a story that hits note for note for note. Now, A Christmas Story. Listen, TBS, they have the 24-hour marathon. And because of that, A Christmas Story is still played to death and overhyped. That doesn't make me recommend it any less. So, needless to say, yeah, I'm going to have an opportunity to see that movie. So really that just leaves the tie I have between, Charlie Brown Christmas and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Again, the Chuck Jones animated one, narrated by Boris Karloff. Those are sort of the white whales of this Mount Rushmore. Because you really got to be on your A game and due diligence to find on any sort of television schedule when they're going to be on TV. And you can bet I'm going to be doing the same. I mean, if I were to guess when both specials are going to be on, I mean, technically Disney owns the rights to ABC. So I'm pretty sure ABC at nighttime, probably around 7, 8 o'clock, maybe even 9 o'clock at night, that's when A Charlie Brown Christmas is going to be on. what day of the week and when in the month of December, probably. I don't know, but that's my guess. As for How the Grinch Stole Christmas, my money would probably be on Freeform, too, because, again, Freeform, it's essentially owned by Disney now. They're going to probably show it on that channel at some point. Although, if you have one of those, like, cable hookups where you see what's on the channel before you switch to it, be very careful. Because How the Grinch Stole Christmas can be that horrible animated movie. That horrible horrible Grinch movie by Jim Carrey. You know what? I'm just saying this right now. If you're going to watch any Christmas thing regarding Jim Carrey, just watch the motion captured Christmas Carol thing I just mentioned earlier. That's a lot better than the Grinch. Easily. And again, the live action one with Jim Carrey. Not the Grinch of Jim Carrey. This is getting kind of confusing. Okay, so, long story short, the only Jim Carrey thing you should even want to see involving Christmas is a Christmas Carol stop motion capture thing. Do that. Like, don't watch the Grinch. Watch a Christmas Carol. Stop motion. By Robert Zemeckis. There you go. That should clear the air. So, if you excuse me, I'm probably going to look up when it all is. Like, favorite, share, the subscribe button, follow me, subscribe using YouTube. I'm going to help this video for all of you guys watching. Joe for hopefully a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Remember, you can always talk to me. We're back. Take care and make good choices. See ya.